Good morning students, myself Bhagya Lakshmi. In the last class, I have explained about network theorems and how to solve the circuit problems using the network theorems. Today, I am explaining about applications of AC circuit, which is the fourth unit in part B. And also, in application of AC circuits, there are two subunits. One is AC bridges, another one is AC filters. Today, I am explaining about AC bridges. First, let us know about what are AC bridges. The bridges are used for determining the value of unknown inductance, unknown capacitance, unknown resistance is called as the AC bridges. What do you mean by AC bridges? The bridges used to determine the value of unknown resistance, capacitance, inductance are known as the AC bridges. That means it is the bridges used to determine the bridges used to determine the value of unknown resistance or unknown capacitance or unknown inductance. So this is called as the AC bridges. The bridges used to determine the value of unknown inductance, unknown resistance and capacitance. These bridges are called as the AC bridges. These AC bridges are very convenient and give the result of accurate measurement. It gives the result of accurate measurement. AC bridges are very convenient and it gives the result of the accurate measurement. So let us consider the bridge. So for a general AC bridge circuit, it should be contains 4 impedances. Let us consider a bridge. Usually the general AC bridge will consist of the 4 impedances, an AC source and the balance detector. So this is called as the balance detector. So what are the conditions for the AC bridge? The generally AC bridge circuit consists of the 4 impedances, an AC source and the balance detector. Usually in the AC circuit, the impedances are used as the pure resistances or complex impedances. what are the impedances used in AC circuit? Generally, in pure resistance or complex impedances are used as the impedance in the AC circuits. So, in balance detector, the commonly used balance detector are one is headphone or tuned amplifier circuit and the or it may be variation or vibration galvanometer. So, this is the circuit of general circuit of the AC bridge. We know that already it consists of 4 impedances, an AC source and the balance detector. So, what are the impedances used in AC circuit? Generally, in AC circuits, use the impedances are either pure resistances or the complex impedances, and the balance detector commonly used in the AC circuits are either headphone or tuned amplifier circuit or the vibrational galvanometer. So, this is the condition for the construction of AC bridges. So, in this AC bridges, on what principle it works? So, the next is very important principle. So, on what principle the AC bridges are work? So, it works on the principle that the balance ratio of the balance ratio of the impedance. This works on the balance ratio of the impedance will give the balance condition to the circuit, will give the balance condition to the circuit. So, this is the principle. So, on what principle the AC bridges work? It works on the principle of the balance ratio of the impedance will give the balance condition to the circuit. It will be determined by the null detector. So, now what is the balance condition? What is the balance condition in AC bridges? So, balance condition in AC bridges is nothing but if the bridge is in balance condition, then will no current flow through the coil. That means the potential difference across the galvanometer is 0. So, this is the balance condition. If the AC bridge is in balance condition, then when no current flow through the coil or the potential difference across the galvanometer is 0. So, this is the balance condition in AC bridges, and also this will be happen when the potential difference across A to B and A to D are same, and also the potential difference across B to C and C to D will be equal. So, when the balance condition is appear, the potential difference across A to B and A to D are equal, and also potential difference across B to C and C to D will be equal. At this situation, the potential difference across galvanometer will be 0. This is the balance condition in AC bridges. At balance condition, this Z1 by Z2 should be equal to Z3 by Z4. At balance condition, Z1 by Z2 should be equal to Z3 by Z4. So, this is the principle. The balance ratio of the impedance will give the balance condition. So, this is the balance condition. So, what is the principle? the balance ratio of the impedance will give the balance condition to the circuit. So this is the balance condition for AC bridges. And how you know the potential difference across BD are same? So it will be indicated by minimum sound in the headphone. So the potential difference at B and D are same. How you know the potential difference across BD are same? It should be indicated by minimum sound in the headphone. If the sound in the headphone is minimum, then the balance condition is obtained. So this is the balance condition. So next is the types of the AC bridges. Next is types of AC bridges. The AC bridges are classified into 7 types. The AC bridges are classified into 7 types. They are, the first one is Anderson's bridge, second one is Maxwell's bridge, and the third one is DeSotti bridge, and the fourth one is Robinson's bridge, and the fifth one is Wayne's bridge, and the sixth one is Shoring bridge, and the last one is inductance. Inductance variation bridge. So the AC bridges are classified into 7 types. They are Anderson bridge, Maxwell's bridge, DeSotti bridge, Robinson's bridge, Wayne's bridge, Shoring bridge, and the last one is inductance variation bridge. So in the syllabus only 4 bridges are there. They are Anderson bridge, Maxwell's bridge, and the Robinson's bridge. So in the syllabus only 4 bridges are there. Which are those? Anderson bridge, Maxwell's bridge, DeSotti bridge, and Robinson's bridge. So let us study one by one. So let us consider the first one, Maxwell's bridge. So the Maxwell's bridge are used to determine the self-inductance of the coil. The Maxwell's bridge are used to determine the value of self-inductance of the coil. The bridge connections of Maxwell's bridge is as shown in this figure. So we know that the condition for AC bridge is it should be contains 4 impedances, an AC source, and the detector. Either detector should be headphone or galvanometer. So we know that the impedances may be pure resistances or the complex impedances. In the Maxwell's bridge they use the resistances and as well as the inductor and the capacitance also. This makes the complex impedance. This term makes the complex impedances. So these are the pure resistances. Though the bridge connections are as shown in the figure, we know that the potential at B and D are made same by varying the capacitance C and the resistance R3. By varying the capacitance and the R3, we get the potential B and D are the equal. That means it should be indicated by minimum sound in the headphone. When the sound in the headphone becomes minimum, at that time the potential at B and D will be same or equal. This should be done by varying the resistance R3 and the C. We know that at balance condition So we know that generally the balance condition for general AC bridge is Z1 by Z2 should be equal to Z3 by Z4. This is equation number 1. What is the balance condition in AC bridge? Z1 by Z2 should be equal to Z3 by Z4. This is equation 1. But for Maxwell's bridge, this is for general. For Maxwell's bridge, what is the value of Z1? Z1 is nothing but R1. What is the value of Z2? Z2 is equal to R2 plus one more, the complex impedance C, that means J omega C. It has an internal resistance 1 by J omega C. What is the value of Z3? Z3 is R3 plus L. The inductance is given by J omega L. The internal resistance of the inductance is J omega L. What is Z4? Z4 is R4. So this is the balance condition for the general AC bridges. For Maxwell's bridge, the value of impedances, impedances of different values, the Z1 is R1, Z2 is R2 plus 1 by J omega C, Z3 is equal to R3 plus J omega L, Z4 is nothing but R4. Substitute the value of Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4 in the equation 1. So in this Z1 by Z2, therefore this Z2 can be written as 1 by Z2 should be equal to 1 by R2 plus J omega C. Now we substitute the value of Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4 in the equation 1. We get, what is the value of Z1? Z1 is R1 divided by, what is the value of Z2 is 1 by R2. Therefore, divided by means is nothing but 1 by R2 plus J omega C. This is Z1 by Z2 should be equal to Z3 by Z4. What is the value of Z3? R3 plus J omega L. R3 plus J omega L. Z3 divided by Z4 is R4. So, R1 by R2 plus J omega C into R1, which is equal to R3 by R4 plus J omega L by R4. Just rearrange the terms, multiplied with R1 by R2 plus R1 into J omega C, R3 by R4, split these terms, R3 by R4 plus J omega L by R4. So, this is called as the real part. This is called as the real part of the equation, and this is the imaginary part of the equation 2. So this is named as the equation 2. So in these are called as the real parts of the equation 2, and these two are the imaginary part of the equation 2. Now we equate real parts. We get, if we equate real parts, what we get? What are the real parts? R1 by R2 should be equal to what? R3 by R4. So, this is the balance condition for the Maxwell's bridge. So, now we get the balance condition. This is called as the balance condition for the Maxwell's bridge. Now we equate imaginary parts. Now we equate the imaginary parts. We get, so in this imaginary parts are what? J omega C R1, J omega C R1, which is equal to j omega L by R4. So j omega get cancelled. Therefore L is equal to C R1 into R4. So this gives the expression for the inductance of the coil. So before I tell that Maxwell's bridge are used to determine the value of the inductance. Now we get the equation for the L. If we know the value of capacitance, resistance R1, resistance R4, we can easily calculate the self-inductance of the coil. So we get the balance condition and as well as the expression for the self-inductance. Using this equation, we can calculate the self-inductance of the coil using the Maxwell's bridge. So the next one is Anderson bridge. This is the most accurate bridge used in the applications, and the Anderson bridge is used to determine the self-inductance of the coil. So the bridge connection are shown in this figure, and one more thing we know that the general AC bridge, any bridge will contain 4 impedances, an AC source and the detector. Either it should be galvanometer or the headphone. So this is the basic construction. This is the Anderson bridge is as shown in this figure. So first at DC balance, so for the first we obtain the DC balance. To obtain DC balance, what we have to do? AC source is replaced by the DC source. To obtain the DC balance, AC source is replaced by DC source and headphone is replaced by the galvanometer. So the DC balance is given by P by Q, which is equal to R by S. So this is the what we called as DC balance. So to obtain DC balance, replace the AC source by DC source and headphone by the galvanometer. So when we obtain DC balance, P by Q should be equal to R by S. So this is the DC balance. Now for AC balance, so to obtain the AC balance, what we have to do? DC balance again replaced by AC source and the galvanometer is replaced by headphone, and also vary the resistance small r until to get the minimum sound in the headphone. So this makes the AC balance. So how we get the AC balance? Vary the resistance until we get the minimum sound in the headphone. This makes the AC balance. That means the potential across E and D are same. This will be indicated by the minimum sound in the headphone. So now we apply Kirchhoff voltage law to the loop A, B, E, A. Now we apply Kirchhoff voltage law to the loop A, B, E, A. In this figure, if we apply the Kirchhoff voltage law, in this we notice that the current I1 is flows through this branch, I2 is flowing to this branch, I3 is flowing to this branch. So this is the current. So it should be split into 3. So when we apply the Kirchhoff voltage law to this loop, what we get? I1 into P minus, because it should be opposite, therefore minus I2 into R, again minus, why? Because it should be negative direction, it should be opposite, therefore it should be negative I2 into, so internal resistance, capacitor has internal resistance J omega C should be equal to 0. When we apply Kirchhoff voltage law to the loop A, B, E, A, I1 into P, it should be minus because I1 is opposite to I2, therefore R into I2 minus I2 into the value of internal resistance is by 1 by j omega c should be equal to 0, or it should be written as I1p. Take to RHS, we get it minus becomes plus and I2 is the common factor. Therefore, R plus 1 by j omega c into I2, or I1 should be equal to R plus 1 by j omega c whole divided by P into I2. So, this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. So, this is very important. After the AC balance, apply the Kirchhoff voltage law to the loop ABEA. We get the value of I1. This is equation 2. Now, we apply Kirchhoff voltage law to the loop AEDA. AEDA. For the loop AEDA. If we apply Kirchhoff voltage law to the loop, what are the current flowing through this? I2 by j omega c minus, in this no current, minus I3 into R, minus I3 into R should be equal to 0. R, take to this term to RHS, it becomes positive. I2 by j omega c equals I3 into R. Therefore, I3 should be equal to I2 divided by j omega c into R. This is equation 3. If we apply Kirchhoff voltage law to the loop AEDA, we get the value of current I3. Now we apply Kirchhoff voltage law to the complete loop ABCDA. Kirchhoff voltage law is applied to the loop ABCDA. We get, so what are the current flow through if we consider the complete loop? First one is I1 into P, I1 into P plus, that means the current flowing through the same direction. Therefore, in this I1 plus I2 into Q, I1 plus I2 into Q. First one is I1 into P. Again it is the same direction, I1 plus I2 into Q, then come to this point, this will be opposite direction, therefore minus I3 into S plus j omega L. So, in this current I3 into S plus, what is the internal resistance L? J omega L. Consider another one, I3 into R. So, minus I3 into R. Therefore, I1P plus I1Q, just multiply this term, I2Q, which is equal to, so take this term to RHS, it becomes positive, I3 is the common factor, therefore take outside R plus S plus J omega L. So in this I1 is the common factor, take outside, I1 into P plus Q plus I2 into Q, which is equal to I3 into R plus S plus J omega L. So substitute the values for I1 and I3 using equation 2 and 3. Substitute for the value I1, I3 using equation 2 and 3, we get, what is I1? r plus 1 by j omega c whole divided by p into I2. So this is I1. P plus Q. P plus Q into I1 plus I2 into Q plus I2 into Q, which is equal to R plus S plus j omega L. R plus S plus j omega L. What is the I3? I3 is I2 divided by j omega CR. So if we substitute the value of I1 and I3, we get this. So in this, I2 is the common factor, therefore take outside. If we take outside, what we get? P plus Q by P. Just rearrange the terms. R plus 1 by j omega c into plus Q into I2 is the common factor, which is equal to R plus S plus j omega L divided by j omega CR into I2. I2 get cancels with each other, and this P by P is 1 plus Q by P into R plus 1 by j omega c plus Q, which is equal to, just rearrange the terms, it should be splitted. So write in splitted form R plus S by j omega CR plus j omega L by j omega CR. J omega get cancels with each other. Now we multiplied with this term, we get 1 plus Q by P into R plus Q minus j by omega c into 1 plus Q by P. Multiply this term within the bracket term, we get 1 plus Q by P into R plus Q into 1 plus Q by P into this term becomes minus j by, when we go to numerator it becomes minus, and which is equal to minus j into R plus S divided by omega CR. It becomes L by CR. So this equation, consider this equation, equate the real part and imaginary part. What are the real parts in this? 1 plus Q by P into R plus Q and L by CR are the real parts of this equation. What are the imaginary parts? Minus j by omega c into 1 plus Q by P minus j into R plus S by omega CR. These are the imaginary parts. So if we equate the imaginary parts, what we get? 1 plus Q by P, which is equal to R plus S by omega CR. J into J get cancel, omega get cancel and C get cancel. So what are the remaining terms? 1 plus Q by P, which is equal to R by R is 1 plus S by R. 1 get cancelled. P by Q should be equal to R by S. So this gives the DC balance condition. So we know that what is the DC balance condition? P by Q is equal to R by S. Now we obtain, when we equate the imaginary parts, what we get? DC balance. P by Q should be equal to R by S. So now we equate the real parts. Real parts is 1 plus, what are the real parts? 1 plus Q by P into R plus Q, which is equal to what? L by C into R. So L should be equal to CR into 1 plus Q by P into R plus Q. But what is this Q by P? Q by P is nothing but S by R. L is equal to CR into 1 plus S by R into R plus Q. How we get S by R? Q by P is nothing but S by R. So replace Q by P by S by R. Now we multiplied R within the bracket. What we get? L is equal to C into R into 1 plus S by R into small r into Q. So L is equal to C into, take 2R within the bracket, we get R into 1 is R into S by R get cancelled, R plus S into small r plus R into Q. This gives the expression for the self-inductance of the coil. If we know the value of capacitance, resistance, R, S, Q, small r, now we easily calculate the self-inductance of the coil. So, the Anderson bridge is the very accurate bridge. It should be used to determine the value of the capacitance, the value of the self-inductance of the coil. So, Anderson bridge is used to determine the self-inductance of the coil. So, using this equation, we can easily calculate the self-inductance of the coil, and also we obtain the DC balance. P by Q is equal to R by S. So, this is very important. In every bridge, the balance should be obtained. And one more thing, in the Anderson bridge, it is very accurately measure the self-inductance of the coil. So, this is about the Anderson bridge. So, let us solve some problems on the bridges. So, the first problem is the impedances of the AC bridge in the figure are given as follows. So, in the problem, given the value of the impedances, Z1 is equal to 200 ohm, Z2 is equal to 150 ohm, Z3 is equal to 250 ohm, and Zx, that means Z4 should be unknown. So, we have to determine the constant of the unknown R. So, this is the bridge. It should be contains the 4 impedances, an AC source and the balance detector. In this, it should be headphone is used as the balance detector. So, we know that at balance condition, so the balance condition in AC bridge is what? Z1 by Z2 should be equal to Z3 by Z4. This is the balance condition for AC bridge. So, in this problem, given the value of impedances, what is the value of Z1? 200 divided by Z2 is 150, Z3 is 250 and Z4, because Z4 is unknown. So, Z4 should be equal to just rearrange the terms. We have to calculate Z4. Therefore, 250 into 150 divided by 200. 100 get cancels. If we simplify, we get Z4 is equal to impedances is nothing but usually the pure resistances. Therefore, the SI unit is ohm. Now we get the value of the unknown fourth R impedance is Z4 is equal to 187.5 ohm. So, now we cross check. This satisfies the balance condition. So, Z1 by Z2 is equal to Z3 by Z4. So, Z1 is 200, Z2 is 150, Z3 is 250. What we get? The value of Z4 is 187.5. If we simplify, we get, so this satisfies the balance condition of the AC bridge. So, in this class, I have explained about what are AC bridges, what is the balance condition in the AC bridges, what is the principle involved in the AC bridge, and the types of AC bridges. In the types of AC bridges, I have explained about two bridges. One is Maxwell's bridge, another one is Anderson bridge, and also problem on the AC bridges. Thank you.